Guys, everyone, please check your audio and video settings, please. Super, guys. Today we are going to discuss the overview diagram of. Today we are going to discuss the overview diagram of microservice architecture. Microservice is all about developing before that, I think we have to see something about microservice, right? Other day we have seen only about SOA. Am I right, boss? Other day we discussed only about SOA advantages and disadvantages. Remembered? Yes. So what is the conclusion of other day's discussion, guys? MVC architecture fall under monolithic architecture. SOAP-based web services fall under SOA architecture. Right, boss. RESTful web applications fall under client-server architecture. Yes or no? Na? Client-server or consumer-producer architecture with the front controller. Then what about microservice architecture? Okay, it's all about working with RESTful web services with a lot of other tools. It's all about working with RESTful web services, okay, with a lot of other tools and design pattern. Lot of other tools and design pattern. Clear, guys? Microservice architecture is extension of RESTful web services, where every service will be developed as a separate project or RESTful application, and a lot of tools and design pattern support will be taken for their interaction, for their management, for their dynamic functionality. So that is all about microservice architecture, boss. Clear, boss? I will write as part of conclusion. Microservice architecture, guys, extension to what is there? A RESTful web service model. Super. In this architecture, every service or module will be developed as separate project or application, having connection with other service or model, other service or module. Every service or module will be developed as separate project or application having connection with other service or module. Order service, billing service, rewards service, return and replacement service. Like this, multiple services will be developed as multiple projects. But there will be communication between all these services or not? There will be communication between all these services or not? Say something, my dear. Be active, my dear. Okay. Let me announce before I forget. Okay. Tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. as usually, we have a regular class. Tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. as usually, we have a regular class. Super. Okay, boss. In this architecture, our service, next one. It is decoupled architecture of single project. You want 7:15 a.m. or 7 a.m.? 7 a.m. will keep now. Okay. 7:15 you want? Okay, make it 7:15. 7:15 you want? Yeah, you come by 7:15. It's a decoupled architecture of single project because multiple services or modules will be developed as multiple projects and they will be resisted or integrated in a common place. They will be resisted or integrated in a common place. Come on, guys. Decoupled architecture, na boss. Why it is called decoupled? Different services are there as a different application. And all of them will be kept in a common registry for communication purpose. And if one service wants to communicate with other service, first of all, other service related details should be placed somewhere, na boss. Should be placed somewhere or not? So that's why it is called decoupled architecture. Decoupled architecture. Microservice means small service or small application. Micro is equal to small. Service is equal to project or application. Service is equal to project or application. Clear, my dear? Super. This is what monolithic architecture. All modules are there in a single project. Microservice architecture. I think you might have felt bored looking this again and again. Microservice 1, module 1. Microservice 2, module 2. Microservice 3, module 3. Microservice 4 or module 4. So everyone is having its own database because everything is a separate application, of course. Everything is a separate application. Getting my point there, guys. And they will be there in intercommunication. They will be there in intercommunication. Okay, don't think that this communication will happen directly like this, guys. Lot of other tools, servers comes into picture in this communication. First of all these services will be registered a place called Eureka server. Suppose service 1 wants to talk to the service 2. Okay. First service 1 contacts the Eureka server, gets the details about service 4, and then communication takes place. Observe interestingly, boss. Guys, you are not active today. Why? What happened? Guys, everyone. Are you active, boss? Observe interesting one. Every service is a separate project, na? That's why it is talking with its own database. It is talking with its own database. Are you observing this, guys? Are you observing this, guys? Sir, if this service wants to use this database data, it will talk to mod service 2. Through that, it will get the database data. Sir, if this service wants to use this software data, this database software data, if this service talks with module 4 service, I mean to say MS4, microservice 4, through that it will get its database data, na boss. Right. Every microservice will be developed as a RESTful application. Coupled means all together. Decoupled means everything is separated. Coupled means tight coupling. Decoupled means loose coupling. Yes. Marriage, coupling. Marriage, coupled. Diverse, decoupled. I think that's a better wording. Super. Attaching one coach with another coach and attaching all these coaches to engine, coupling. Leaving each coach is decoupling, right, boss? Separating each coach from engine is decoupling. Fine. Every microservice will be developed as a RESTful application, nothing but REST controller, and will be placed a common registry or server to make it available for other microservice or client application. For other microservice or client application. See, if MS1 wants to talk with MS4, first of all, MS1 has to search for MS4 now, boss. So for that purpose, this MS4 should be placed in a common registry or not. I mean, revealing the word Eureka registry. Similarly, if MS4 wants to talk with MS1, so MS1 should be placed in a common registry or not. Should be placed as a common registry or not. Come on. So that means all these microservices will be placed in common registry. Will be placed in common registry. Is that clear, guys? Kiran Kumar, your application. your application in your project, all services together using single database. If demand is there like that, they may do like that. If demand is there like that, they may do like this. But for complete decoupling, better to have separate database for every service. Otherwise, how you sell each service to outsider? How you will take each service and how you will give to other projects? Got it? Super. Advantages of microservice architecture was. Shall we start understanding microservice architecture advantage? Need not to stop other services or module. Loose coupling, decoupled one and the same. Loose coupling, decoupled one and the same. Maybe if degree of dependency is less between two components, loosely coupled. Decoupled means instead of developing two components together, if they are developed separately, then they are called decoupled. Decoupling leads to loose coupling. That's a better wording. Decoupling leads to loose coupling. Got it? First, decoupling is required in order to achieve the loose coupling. Come here, guys. Need not to stop other service or module microservices. If problem comes in certain module or service, if rewards or feedback service is failed, it does not affect other services like sales, orders, and cart services. Is it not very interesting, Babu? Earlier, what happened? In Flipkart, some problem has come in feedback service. In order to repair it, in order to fix it, we need to stop entire application. Now that headache is there. Earlier, if one fails, all failed. But now that headache is there, guys. Which one is not working? That service we stop. And we don't disturb other services, right, boss? Are you understanding my statement, guys? Super, boss. Need not to stop all other services while updating or patching certain service for betterment. While updating or that is called patching. Adding additional functionality to the existing functionality is called patching. While updating or patching certain service for betterment. Certain service for betterment. Everyone understanding my statement, guys? Come on. Super, guys. Next one. We can use different technologies to develop different services of the project or application. Is there any rule RESTful web service should be developed only in Java? No, na, boss. Suppose for developing sales service, Java is having better API. I develop RESTful service of sales in Java. Suppose for billing, better API is there in .NET. I will develop the billing service as RESTful service in .NET environment. Is it not interesting, Babu? Okay. We can use different technologies to develop different services of the project. When I say service, microservice. Now onwards, when I say service, microservice, boss. Next, we can do horizontal scaling of each service. We can do horizontal scaling of each service as needed. That means if certain service like searching or cart and etc. having more demand, then we can create more instances for them by enabling load balancing. By enabling load balancing. Array, the other day we discussed this point also, right? For which service more demand is there? For only for those services, we can create more instances. Only for those services, we can create more instances. For which services less demand is there, we try to create one or two instances. We just try to create one or two instances. What do you say, boss? Convinced or not? Convinced or not? I want reply. Shakti Prasad. I had one project, my company many was integrated multiple service into one main project as a jar file. Okay, cause they are added into pom.xml, other services. Are Shakti Prasad, everyone please look at a Shakti Prasad question. Okay, you are taking multiple services as a multiple services are added to one project, and at the end that project is linked with it, released as a jar file. Okay. Then if I can do like this, what is the need of microservices? Now I'm asking one simple question. Okay, certain such service need 4-5 instances. Can you create it, boss? Shakti Prasad? You packed everything into one main project now? Okay, in that one, 2-3 services I need as what? 4-5 instances. Can I do it now? Horizontal scaling of services possible? I want reply from Shakti Prasad. Then how does you can say that is microservice architecture? Or how can you say that is alternate for microservice architecture? You are looking only. Okay. Now listen. One service is down to repair one service is down to repair that service. You have to down a whole project now, boss. You have to down a whole project, right? Shakti Prasad. Now what you are talking, Meven multi-module concepts. I hope you studied Meven multi-module concept in my Meven videos. Meven multi-module you are talking. Because you are writing entries in pom.xml means Meven multi-module concept you are talking. Super. So developing services and integrating them into again single jar file is not microservice. See, there is no boundary, boss. There is no boundary for microservice architecture. Again, we don't keep them in a single boundary. They are independent and they will remain independent forever. So that they can be used for current project, they can be used for other projects. What Shakti Prasad said, that again comes under monolithic only. Monolithic but with extra loose coupling. Monolithic with extra loose coupling. That's it. Upgrading or migrating to new technologies in each service is not complex. Is not complex. Quite easy compared to monolithic architecture. My boss, everything is separately there now, boss. Upgrading or migrating to new technology. For example, someone said that compared to Spring REST easy is good. I want to change one microservice technology from Spring REST to REST easy. Can I do that? Are you understanding my statement? Okay. Ramachandra, every service is taken as a separate project. That is called microservice. Okay. Ramachandra asked one question. Everyone, please look at the chat box. I got a question in the interview. We create separate project, but how it is microservice? No, for every service, separate project was, and we will take the support of some tools, some design pattern for their better communication and management. Then it is microservice architecture. Separate project for every service is not microservice architecture. Again, we should add some tools support, some design pattern supports. Okay, in order to get communication among them, in order to manage them, then it becomes microservice architecture. That's what I am trying to say. Microservice architecture is RESTful web service plus tools plus design patterns. Ramachandra, I hope you got your answer. Dekti Prasad Sahu, every service is developed as every project. So then I don't know why are you separating project and service here. Okay. Amia, you have to wait for some technical stuff. Please wait for a few days. Kiran Kumar, import of package is possible when service is there as a library. If one service wants to use another service, communication is required, na? Yes or no, na? Communication is required. Are you listening my statement? Communication is required. So next, Suchitra is asking, then what is the difference between library and service? A library is there in jar file. We add in the class path in order to use it. But when it's microservice, okay, it runs in a separate server. It runs in a separate server. If you want to use its services, communication is required. If you want to use its services, communication is required. Everyone understanding? Library means we get it in the form of jar file. We add to class path and we'll start utilizing the services of the library. When it comes to microservice, it is there as a RESTful service running on different server. If you want to enjoy the services, you have to communicate with the services. You have to consume the services through communication. You have to consume the services through communication. What it was? Can you come back to the subject, everyone? Service downtime. Service downtime while performing reloading, restart, or redeployment activities is less. Because we need to perform these activities on one service at a time. Alright, listen. To shut down entire project which is having 20 modules takes more time. Okay, to shut down each service individually takes more time. I'm living to your common sense. Again, to restart also same principle is applicable or not. Flipkart is having monolithic architecture with 20 modules. I want to down it. I want to stop that application. I want to restart that application. I want to restart that application. Come on, guys. Takes more time or less time, boss? Definitely takes more time to down the application to restart the application. Suppose every service is there as a separate microservice, separate application. Problem is this sales. I want to restart the sales. It takes more time or less time? Definitely less time. Okay, guys. Next one. Allows to place common things of multiple services. This is very interesting. Allows to place common things of multiple services, microservices, in a common place like a GitHub environment, instead of placing in every service or module. This is one more interesting thing, Ra Babu. Okay. Yeah, the common things, common things. Understanding my statement, guys? Common things can be placed in GitHub and can be used in multiple places. Super. We are going to encounter this. We are going to encounter this. Understanding my statement? Super. Note, guys. Developing microservice using Spring Boot is very easy because most of the common things like database setup, schema initialization, and etc. can be configured to occur through auto configuration of Spring Boot. See here, guys, how many microservices are there? 4. Everything is having their own database. Everywhere database setup is required. Everywhere data source is required. Everywhere auto schema generation is required. Come on. Everywhere multiple layers will be there. Everywhere one layer should be injected to other layer. Am I going to do all these things manually? All these things can be configured to occur through auto configuration or not. All these things can be configured to occur through auto configuration or not. More importantly, in my system, I don't have any physically installed external Tomcat server or some other server. External installed Tomcat server is not there. Okay. To run this microservice, here one embedded Tomcat. To run this and test this microservice, here one embedded Tomcat. To run this one separate embedded Tomcat. To run this here separate embedded Tomcat. All these things will be taken care by Spring Boot itself or not. Come on, my dear. Why people are crazy with Spring Boot to develop the microservice? You got idea? You got idea? When you develop every microservice as a separate project, every project needs some common setup. That common setup is now taken care by whom? Spring Boot itself. It could be infrastructure related issue. It could be what? Injection related issues. It could be auto configuration issues. Spring Boot will be taken care such things are not. That's why the best platform to implement microservice architecture is what? Spring Boot. Why people are crazy about? Okay. Why people are crazy about Spring Boot? You got idea? Microservice architecture implementation is possible in other domains also. But 90% times people prefers to use Spring Boot to develop microservice architecture. Why? Because they don't have Spring Boot kind of framework, boss. They seriously don't have Spring Boot kind of framework. They max have Spring kind of framework. They don't have Spring Boot kind of framework. Everyone understanding my statement, boss? That's the reason 90% microservice architecture projects are happening in Spring. See, after arrival of Python, okay, when Python Django framework has come and JavaScript Node.js has come into picture, everyone commented Java gone. Why? For website development, Node.js, right? For website development, Node.js. And in data science, IoT kind of area, Python. Come on, come on. and everyone commented Java life gone. So that time, because of Spring Boot, Java survived. Because of Spring Boot, Java survived. Because Spring Boot is the perfect environment to develop new architecture called microservice architecture application. Everyone understanding my statement? Super. Next. Meanwhile, what happened, in Python, they started finding security issues. In Python, they started finding, come on, okay, security issues. Security issues. That's why in most of the project, they are not preferring to use what? Python. Though it is capable of developing web application, they are not preferring Python in web application development. Getting my point, guys? Okay, so Python is ruled out. Okay, and Node.js environment is giving problems towards developing complex websites. Node.js environment is giving problem towards developing complex website. So again, Java Power came back into picture. Java Power came back into picture. Otherwise, people have ruled out using Java in website development. People started looking at Java only for what? Distributed application development, RESTful application. At that time, microservice came. Come on. Okay, proved Java is still more required. Python failed in web application development. Java importance is increased. Node.js failed. Come on. Node.js failed in large scale web application development. Understanding my statement? Okay. So again, Java importance is increased. So overall, Java has become a hero again. In the middle 3-4 years, some disturbance has come. Why Java? Who will spend this complex coding? It takes time now. Let's go to Node.js. Let's go to Python. Now, do you find people talking wrong about Java now? Except to Python trainers? Except to Python trainers? Yeah, Python trainers, no option for them. For them, that is a survival. Forget about Python trainers, boss. The Python trainers, they just teach Python, core Python. They don't know what can be done in the industry using Python, but they say Python is everything. But practical is different, right? Reality is different. Company level projects are different. Shakti Prasad, it's not just developing each service as a project. It's all about managing them with a lot of tools. Okay, come on. Providing proper communication environment, registry environment, management environment, okay, maintenance environment. So then it is called microservice architecture. Everyone getting my point? Super, guys. Okay, I think you got it. I'm not saying microservice architecture is possible only in Java, but Java is the best platform to implement microservice architecture. Microservice architecture is all about what? RESTful web service plus design pattern plus third-party tools. Third-party tools, right, boss? That can be implemented anywhere. But Java providing more facilities, Java Spring Boot is simplifying life towards implementing microservice architecture. Clear, guys? Microservice architecture is equal to Spring REST applications plus design patterns plus party tools, third party tools. Okay, boss. Next, guys. Spring Boot and Spring Cloud with Spring Boot. Spring Cloud module with Spring Boot. Nice. Better environment. Better environment. Better environment to develop and test microservice architecture projects. Okay, boss. We can develop microservice architecture applications, microservice architecture application in other domains, like .NET, Python, JS, and etc. But Java is the better domain for it. Did you see .NET people offering microservice course? Did you see .NET people offering microservice course? Did you see JavaScript people offering microservice course? Why? They are not best. It's not like that we cannot do, boss. They are not best. But Java domain is the best domain for it. Java domain is the best domain for it. Because it has got Spring Boot and Spring Cloud support. Spring Cloud support to develop MS architecture projects effective. MS architecture projects effective. Everyone understanding my statement, guys? Are you understanding my statement? Come on. MS architecture projects more and more effectively, boss. More and more effectively. Now listen, limitations of microservice, boss. Limitations. And the only advantages, the disadvantages are not there. There, guys. There are companies. Dev, can you please focus, Ra Babu? Guys, if you listen class like this, how can I go further, Ra Babu? From last 10 minutes, I am spending time on this. At the end of the discussion, if someone comes and says, sir, can you explain again why Spring Boot is required for developing microservices? Guys, if you study like this, can we go further? Dev, if you join lately, at least you commit that I joined lately, please repeat once. Guys, only for Dev, I am repeating for 1 minute. Okay, simple scenario I am taking here. Simple scenario I am taking here. How many microservices are there here? 4 are there. Every microservice is talking to database? Yes. Every microservice should be deployed and executed in server? Yes. Okay. If I develop all these microservices in Spring REST, that too by using Spring Boot and environment, database connection, dynamic schema generation, embedded Tomcat, all these things are taken care by Spring Boot itself. Come on, my dear. All these things will be taken care by Spring Boot itself. That means lot of common setup that is required in multiple microservice development is taken care by Spring Boot itself through auto configuration activity. Yes or no? Na? If it is non-Spring Boot environment, everywhere I need to do that common setup activities manually or not. And moreover, in Spring Boot, we have also got Spring Cloud module. Spring Cloud module that provides many other facilities to simplify microservice development, to manage microservice development, to make intra-communication between microservice happening smoothly. Because of this, Spring is the best place, or Spring Boot is the best place to develop the microservice architecture application. Clear, guys? Okay, boss. Super. Shall we get into the discussion, boss? Limitations of microservices. Listen. Lots of people trying to move their project to microservice architecture. After 10% people stepping back, saying that microservice architecture won't suit us because of these limitations. 10% companies stepping back, saying that for me monolithic is good. For me monolithic is good because of these limitations. I'll ask simple question. I want to see the flow of execution in microservice architecture application. Then we need to work with logging. Yes, no, boss. We need to work with logging activities, log4j kind of logging activities. Array, getting log messages in one project is easy, ra. Getting log messages across the multiple projects is that much easier, boss? Is that much easier, boss? Tell me. Within the project, manageable to get the log messages across the multiple projects, right? Getting log messages is very difficult, na? Think about debugging. One new fellow came into the existing microservice architecture project. He has to understand the flow of execution. Getting the flow of execution in the code, come on. Okay, guys. Getting the flow of execution. Yeah. Getting flow of execution across the multiple projects and their execution is that much easier, boss. Debugging across the multiple projects, right? Is very difficult or not, boss? This needs separate tools, separate environment, separate management. So sometimes we get the feeling, are we dealing with microservices? Are we dealing with tools? For everything's tools, Rabab. Lot of third-party tools have come. Compared to main coding, this tools headache is more, Rabab. Compared to main coding, sometimes this tools headache is horrible. Are you getting my point, boss? Come on, are you with me? Yeah. So let's look at maintenance of the project is very complex because it generates multiple log files, contains multiple communication chains, and debugging the code across the multiple services is too difficult. Too difficult. Understanding my statement, boss? Yes or no, na? Okay. Sekti Prasad Sahu, I will murder you. Without debugging, how you know flow of execution, ra? Stupid fellow. Without debugging, how you know flow of execution? Your mind is going here and there, ra? The order is generated in sales module, ra? Then it will go to order module. From there, order module, it will go to billing module. If you want to track the request flow, you will do debugging only in one module. It's not your responsibility to debug entire flow. Only the sales module request is over. No. It has to go to order module. From there, it goes to billing module. From there, it goes to payment module, right? So a lot of communication happens across the multiple services. Right now, all these services are what? Not part of single project. They're individual applications, individual projects. So now debugging across the multiple projects is required. Think in that angle. Guys, when I say microservice, separate project, separate application, that point should be there in the brain. That point should be there in the brain. Maintenance of the project is very complex because it generates multiple log files, contains multiple communication plans, chains, and debugging the code across the multiple services is too difficult. Super, guys. Next. Needs a high-end infrastructure to maintain multiple microservices. If going for cloud, we need to purchase or rent multiple things to deploy and manage these projects. Yes, na, boss? We take multiple projects. Come on. Multiple projects means multiple servers. Yes, na? If you want to create multiple instances for certain services, more servers are required. More servers are required. If it is a company, high-end infrastructure we have to arrange. If you go for cloud to reduce the burden, there also more things we have to acquire, na? And the cloud is based on which concept they provide the services. Pay per use. How much you use, that much you have to pay. You are trying to take 4 instances of Tomcat, pay for 4 instances. You are trying to take 10 instances of Tomcat, pay for 10 instances. So overall maintenance cost will be increased or not, boss? Needs high-end infrastructure to maintain multiple microservices. If you are going for cloud, we need to purchase or rent multiple things to deploy and manage these projects. When I say projects, multiple microservices. In monolithic with one server, everything can be managed, Babu. But here multiple microservices, multiple servers are required or not required. Super. Next, knowledge on more tools and technologies and processes is required to work with microservice projects. Just now I discussed it, boss. Logging, not in one project, across the multiple projects, separate tools are there. Debugging, not in one project, across the multiple projects, separate tools are there. To register all these microservices, separate server is required. Yes or no? Though there are multiple microservices, there should be common entry point to get into all these microservices. Separate tool is required for that. You might have heard one word called API gateway. This API gateway acts as a common entry point for all the microservices. Come on, guys. And for load balancing tools are required. We try to take multiple instances of each microservice, To manage the load, we need some load balancer support or not? Are you analyzing? Are you putting your brain here or not? So knowledge on more tools. That's what I'm telling. Sometimes we get the feeling, are we learning microservice or tools? So many tools, so many technologies, so many processes. He is required to work with microservice project first. Next. Migrating monolithic projects to monolithic. Monolith project to microservice project is very complex. Why, sir? Why? Tell me. Why? Tell me, guys. Array, taking each module as a separate project is not that much easier, Babu. From scratch level development, it is easy, right? Yes or no? Na? Migrating monolith project into microservice project is very complex. From the scratch, developing microservice is easy. But, okay, it takes complexity. So that's why what people will do, they never convert. They will try to go for migration. That means business logic part they keep as it is, Babu. But they try to create microservice project from the scratch level. Only business logic part they try to copy paste. Remaining everything they do to scratch level. So conversion tools are not there, but migration they do. I hope you know what is migration. In migration, what happens, old project will be created as a new project. Only necessary places copy paste will happen. Everything happens from scratch level only. Migration, changing the technologies of existing project by creating new projects separately is called migration. I'm migrating to Canada. What's the meaning of that? I'm moving to Canada. I'm trying to present myself totally a new person, right? I will carry Canada passport, Canada citizenship. I will present myself as a Canada person. That is called migration, na boss? That is called migration, right? No, some people will go there for job and come back. That's a different story. Some people will completely shift. They are completely shifted means what? They try to have new identification, new cultures they try to follow, new lifestyle they will try to bring. The same thing here. Right now, monolith projects are migrated to microservice architecture project. What does it mean? They create a new project as microservice architecture project. They try to develop every module as a separate project or service. As part of that, only business part they copy paste, but remaining everything they try to develop from scratch level. Everyone understanding my statement? Migrating monolithic project to microservice project is complex. Testing is bit difficult if one microservice having dependency with another microservice. Yes or no, na boss? If one microservice is having dependency with another microservice, testing is difficult or not? Some marking tools comes into picture, boss. One microservice is ready, dependent microservice is not ready, but still I need to complete testing. Then Marketo comes into picture or not? Okay, guys. Transaction management. Across the multiple microservices is very complex. Transaction management across the multiple microservices is very complex or difficult, boss. Difficult to implement. Understanding? Difficult to implement. Array, transaction is combination of multiple operations. Hey, come on, guys. Transaction is combination of multiple operations. Okay, one operation is happening in one microservice, other operation is happening in another microservice, and we need to apply do everything or nothing principle on multiple microservices. A lot of distributed transaction management is required or not? Yes or no? No? Distributed transaction management is required or not? Global or distributed transaction management is required. Global or distributed transaction management is required. What do you say, my dear? Super boss. Here is the end of the story. Yes, there are challenges, boss. There are challenges. Okay. See, guys, no doubt, microservices is definitely having advantages, guys. But for every small and medium scale project, don't go for microservice. It's something like this. Giving too many facilities for small project also makes project complex. Everyone understanding my statement, guys? So my final conclusion, large scale projects, more customer base is there. Per day, so many requests are coming. Lot of sensitive data is involved. Lot of decoupling is required. Lot of loose coupling is required. Then only go for microservices. Otherwise, for small and medium scale projects, still you prefer monolithic architecture. For large scale projects, go for microservice architecture. Everyone understanding my statement, guys? So, conclusion. Prefer using. Okay. Prefer using. How we implement distributed transaction. Just now I have introduced Rabam. We have tools for that, boss. We have APIs for that. Narayana API, Atamakas API. We have APIs for distributed transactions. People are very interesting, I introduced one word, they say, how to implement, sir. Do you think, can I tell immediately, Mr. Krishna Kondapalli? Super, boss. Conclusion. Tell me, guys. Prefer using monolithic architecture. Monolithic architecture for small and medium scale. Medium scale. What, guys? Small and medium scale Java applications or projects. Examples, guys. Okay. College websites. University websites. College website, university websites. Next, supermarket applications and etc. Prefer using microservice architecture, large scale, complex. Tell me, Java applications are projects. Java applications are projects. What is the example, boss? What is the example? E-commerce applications, banking applications, Financial service financial services applications. Everyone getting my point, boss? Super, boss. Are e-commerce means shopping only, Deepali, madam. Please, madam. Right. Okay, I have given a little information about cloud, boss, here. We generally uses cloud environment to deploy and execute the modern monolithic SOA and microservice project. All modern projects deployment execution is happening in what? Cloud environment, right? I think you know why we need cloud. Why we need cloud, you know that? Instead of having hardware, software, network infrastructure in my company by investing crores of rupees, okay, connect to cloud, take them on rental basis, use them to develop the project, to test the project, to build the project, to release the project, and forget about them. So that maintenance cost will be less or not. Okay, can I say one thing, boss? Can I say one thing? Why there's a lot of boom for startups? Because of cloud. Because of cloud. If 10 people are having 10 laptops, they can start a company. They can start a company. Why? They need not to have a high-end infrastructure. They just take one 2 BHK flat. They use their laptops. They connect it to cloud. They pay. And some cloud people are giving 1 year free, 2 years free also. AWS kind of thing, right? That's the reason there's a lot of boom for startups. Are you noticing a lot of startups are happening nowadays? Lot of IIT passed out students, they are not showing interest to create to do job. They are trying to open their startups. If clicked. If not clicked, again they join in the company. Why you know? It's because of confidence that is coming from cloud. In your own company, if you invest 100 rupees for infrastructure, in cloud you have to invest only 1 rupee. Got it, guys? Working with the cloud, nothing but taking things on rental basis, using them for our requirements. AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, PCF, Pivotal Cloud Foundry buys, Rackspace, and IBM Cloud is there. IBM Cloud is also there. What is that? Blue Mix? Huh? IBM Cloud is what? Blue Mix. IBM is also into cloud, boss. But no doubt AWS is market leader. AWS is market leader because of its services. Because of its services, boss. And moreover, freebies. It's a freebies, boss. Lot of freebies. 1 year free, 1.5 year free. So many services they are offering. And moreover, they offer different levels of budget for different category people. For company people, 1 budget. For retailers, 1 budget. For client, 1 budget. Aisa no na, boss. I just given these many names. But you know what is the first cloud people who came into the market? First person, first company who came into the market. Course.com. Later it is named as Salesforce. No, all these are now came Babu. Salesforce. Salesforce. Who started doing business in cloud is a Salesforce, boss. Salesforce and etc. But AWS came and dominated the market by offering different services, different budget schemes, and different other facilities. For 1 year, people can use at free of cost, boss. So 1 year can use means what? People habituated, like Geo. Reliance Geo scheme is there. 6 months they said use mobile data at free. They made people habituated using mobile data. Once habituated, start charging money. Super, guys. Cloud services. Every cloud offers how many services? 3 services. PaaS, IaaS, and SaaS. Platform as service. Infrastructure as service. Software as service, guys. Cloud services. Cloud offer 3 services, boss. Cloud environment, AWS or Azure. Infrastructure as service means RAM, hard disk, network, CPU, racks. Racks means memory racks, boss. Memory racks. PaaS, platform as service. Linux, Windows, Ubuntu, Mac, device drivers, and etc. etc. SaaS, software as service, boss. Web server, application server, database software, mail servers, JDBC drivers, my message queue services, JDK software, Jenkins, Docker, etc. etc. Yes or no, na, boss? Super. Lastly, what is there? Microservice architecture is a design and whose applications or projects can be implemented or developed in Spring environment with the support of Spring Boot plus Spring Cloud plus tools plus design patterns. Plus design patterns. I hope you got a clarity, boss. This is important statement of the day. Everyone enjoyed it, guys. Got the clarity. Thoroughly understood it. Got the picture? Yeah. 1 minute. File save as Jan 21st, 2023. Yeah, we have class tomorrow at 7:15. Class starts. We have class tomorrow. As the code, any project can be developed as a monolithic or microservice. Clear? You want more facilities, go for microservice. You want less facilities, go for monolithic. Are you understanding my statement? Super, boss. Okay. Hi, sir. Kindly upload other modules. I'll upload, boss. In my company, gives training on IIB. Sir, it's good or future. First of all, can you explain what is IIB? Tomorrow timing 7:15. Tomorrow timing 7:15. 7:15 a.m. Tomorrow timing 7:15. Tomorrow, please start bit late. I have other sessions. I kept other sessions, guys. Okay, this weekend I may not be available for you people. So I kept other sessions also. I kept other session for other batches. So it can be regular session, but tomorrow session is there. Thank you. Have a nice time.